So welcome to everybody. This is our fifth module already, can you believe it, of Learning One Shopping Cart. And first of all, thank you for your flexibility. Last week, my husband is on the mend. He's much better, still has some pain, but for the most part, at least he's mobile. Again, amazing how much work other people do until you don't realize until you have to do it all. So thank you for your kind words and well wishes. And the other thing is that I just want to make sure everybody got a chance to watch last week's module that was recorded for you, and just checking to see if anybody had any questions on that. That one was really around creating templates, autoresponders, and broadcast, as well as continuing or finishing up the configuration setup, including email setup. So that one was really jam-packed, and it was actually more, I actually went longer than I actually do for class. I think that one was closer to almost 2 hours because I just wanted to get it all done for you. So no worries if you didn't watch. Make sure that you do, because that one is really important, because you do need to understand how autoresponders work and how the templates are set up and all that. So my point is if you haven't had a chance, you might want to watch that and then watch this one again, because remember, we're building upon knowledge here, okay? And as always, you can give me a holler if you have any questions. So with that, let's just go ahead and take a look at our agenda for today. Usual housekeeping. We'll review Module 4. Then today we're going to do contact management, products, categories, coupons. So today is really going to be more about products, but we need to go through the contact management piece as well. And then, of course, homework, and then our Q&A. So keep your eyes open for some additional resources. I'm finishing up that very large questionnaire, and actually, I probably won't have it all the way done, but I will have little snippets of things for you, because think about this. When you're working in one shopping cart, you can either do the whole implementation from soup to nuts, right? Or maybe you could just do bits and pieces. So I'm going to have a document that's going to do the soup to nuts piece, which is everything. Then I'm going to have little snippet documents that will just do specific things, like if you're going to set up a product, what you need to know. Or if you're going to set up a coupon, what do you need to know? Things that you need to ask. So it's almost like a form that if your client says, okay, Tara, I need you to set up a product for me, you can just send it to her and say, these are the things I need to know. She can fill it out, you can create a checklist, and then from there, you would be able to create said product or coupon. So realize you're going to have a mixed match of documents in this class, and they are kind of in process, okay? Again, thanks for your participation in the Facebook group. Those of you who are in there, feel free to post questions and comments and all that kind of stuff. I do check on that every day. If you're not part of the Facebook group, you decide you want to be, please let me know. Make sure you get added. The practice sandbox, the logins are all in the library, so you should be able to find those, no problem. They're towards the bottom of the page. Remember, you have specific login information with that. So make sure you see what that is. And there's 4 different login IDs, and for each one has a different password. And just kind of a note for yourself, if you're in there and you're working along and then all of a sudden you got to do something and you're kicked out, it means that somebody else logged in at the same time as you did with that same username and password. Now, that's probably not going to happen. But if it does, just realize that's what it is, and you could just choose a different one. Okay, because you'll still be able to see the information. It's just the way you get to it. Okay, so it's not like some tools when you log in and you've lost everything. No, it doesn't work that way. It's just the user ID that you're using to log in. Okay. So any issues or questions, as you know, please reach out to me, help@techhumanlabs.com, or you can certainly post the information on the Facebook group. Remember, the Facebook group is marked private and secret, so whatever we talk about in there is not blasted to your Facebook page. Nobody else can see it. Okay. Sorry, my phone was ringing. I thought I put it in the drawer. Let me move it so it's gone. There we go. Okay. So module number 4. Module number 4, we completed the configuration that we actually had started in module 3. And as you know, with One Shopping Cart, there's a lot of different questions and a lot of different things that you need to set up. So I went through and finished that configuration, including the email setup configuration, which talks about opt-ins. We looked at setting up templates. So the templates are really the templates that you use to work in One Shopping Cart when it comes to autoresponders and broadcast. So autoresponders, if you remember, autoresponders is a trigger. So somebody buys something, somebody signs up for something, they get an automatic email no matter what time of the day or night it is, right? And so that's an autoresponder. And then broadcast is just like sending an email. So you schedule it to go out at a specific date or time. That would be a broadcast. Like an e-zine would be a broadcast, for instance. So autoresponders in One Shopping Cart, just for those of you who weren't able to watch the video from last week, autoresponders in One Shopping Cart play two different roles. They're a bucket for you to segment your list, but they also hold messages. So sometimes you'll see that autoresponders don't have any messages associated with them. They're just a placeholder for how people came to be on your list, right? And then some autoresponders will have multiple messages, just depends, and you can space them out over a course of time. So you could send it out immediately, you could send it out at 2 days or 5 days or 8 days, and you'll see all that, in that module, okay? All right, so we're going to kind of bounce back and forth a little bit today through the PowerPoint as well as One Shopping Cart. So the first thing we're going to talk about is contact management, and we're going to talk about the contact menu. And the contact menu in One Shopping Cart really has got 4 options. It's got manage contacts, manage tags, custom fields, and then you've got an import and an export option. As I mentioned previously, whenever you import anything into One Shopping Cart, it is a double opt-in. No way around that. Can't turn it off. So if you import a list from some other location, MailChimp, Aweber, or Constant Contact, those people are going to be forced to opt in again in order to get on your list. Now, certainly you can add contacts manually, but if your client has, 1,000 contacts, you can't add those because One Shopping Cart will see that and they'll flag you and they'll say, you can't do that. You cannot add that many. Now, you can probably add maybe 5 a day, but think how long it would take you if you added 5 every day for, until you got to 1,000. They would also catch on to that too. Because if you add onesies, twosies manually, they don't have to opt in again. So people have tried to work that system. Doesn't work. One Shopping Cart's smart enough. There's some kind of either an algorithm or some kind of filter or something that notifies them that you're doing that, and they will call you upon it and they can lock down your account. So onesie twosies is fine, but if you have a long list, please be sure that you're not doing that. Import it, let them go through the double opt-in, and so on. Okay, so just kind of some notes on that. So starting with manage contacts. I'm going to pop back over here. As you can see, I'm logged into the sandbox. And we're going to go into the contacts menu, and you can see these are the same things I talked about. So we're just going to start at the top and work our way down. So manage contacts. And they have totally changed this menu. You used to have other options, and there are some quirks with One Shopping Cart. I'll tell you right now, when it comes to searching for people, you're better off using an email address than anything else. Because sometimes it will not find them if you use just their name or anything around it. So if you have a specific email address, that seems to work much better than if you try to use a name. So let me just show you this. For instance, it says here, you can search by name, company, email, address, fax, phone. And to be honest, you can, but the best one to use, as I said, is email address. So for instance, I can type in Susan, I can hit search, and it brings me up twice here. I have 2 different ones in here. Now you can search within results. So if you have, let's say, right now it says display 10 per page. So this is how many entries you see based on your search. But if you have 100 here, right, you could then, what's the word I'm looking for? You could then break down your search even more. So for instance, in here, I could say, Arizona, for instance, and then I could hit search within results versus new search. Search within results will only search what you have here. Now I only have 2, but you get the idea if you have a few hundred here and you want to just look for people in Arizona or people in Phoenix or people in California, it would search within the results that you're seeing visibly on your screen right now versus new search would search new people. Now you notice I have 3, or actually I'm not even on this list. See me? I didn't even show up here. Okay. So search within versus new search, pretty self-explanatory. And you can use wildcards like the asterisk. And again, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So you have to realize it's nothing that you're doing. The search feature in One Shopping Cart has always been a little quirky. That's why I'm saying use email addresses, because it seems to not have that quirkiness when you use an email address. So I can't remember which one I did. Let's say I did that one and then new search. Nope, of course I did the other one. The Techie Mentor. I have both. And there I am. See, makes it much easier. Now notice in my address, I don't have Arizona, so that's not why I didn't show up. So a couple of things real quick. If you're going to be searching your database of people, or your clients are going to be searching your database of people, a couple of notes you need to realize is you can only search on the information that you have. In other words, if you're going to be searching for cities that people are located in, well, that means people have to actually insert their cities in order for you to search on it. You can only pull out of One Shopping Cart what you put into One Shopping Cart. So if you need to do reports on locations or types of business or age or anything like that, you have to make sure that information is stored in the database in order for you to pull it out, right? So you have to input the information that you want to sort on or search on. Otherwise, it's not going to do you much good, okay? So that's search, not a whole lot to it, okay? Now from here, I can also create a new contact. So as I said, you could enter people manually. So I could click create new contact. And from here, I can simply fill in the blanks. So let's see. Okay, whoops. And I'm just making up a name. So first and last name, really the only thing that is absolutely mandatory in this whole thing is the email address, because that's how One Shopping Cart differentiates what are called records. Each person has a unique record, and if you try to put in an email address that already exists, it won't let you add it again, because that's what's unique about each person is their email address, okay? Now, that doesn't mean somebody won't be in your database 3 times because they use 3 different email addresses. I'm in this twice because I have 2 different email addresses, which means every time I send something out to my entire list, I get it twice. So I get people all the time going, I'm getting 3 things from you. That's because you've got 3 different email addresses in my database. Which one do you want me to remove, right? And you can move them. Okay, so I'm just going to make up an email address, right? Now, as I said, remember, if you want to search on information, you have to make sure that it's filled out, which means you have to require that in your shopping cart. Remember when we did the setup for the shopping cart? There are things that you can require them to fill in, and that's the kind of stuff that you need if you're going to be doing searches on it. Otherwise, people will skip it. So I could add phone, fax. Okay, from here, you notice I have a billing and a shipping profile. So I'm just going to go in here. Oops. Now I'm just hitting my keyboard. You could see that it jumped when I hit the U for United States. And then you notice it gives me the abilities to choose. But you can choose countries, okay? And then I could do this as well. Now from here, I could just hit save. Okay, it's saved. Now notice that I have other options here. Okay, so custom fields, and we're going to talk custom fields in just a minute, but custom fields are a way that you could actually go in and fill in information, but you can also ask for this when they go to the shopping cart, right? So when they actually enter their information into the shopping cart, you can ask for who referred you, what event did we meet at, what class did you take, whatever kind of information. So here's the key for you guys. If you need to report or search on specific information and details, you have to make sure that you ask for it and that it's required, because otherwise people aren't going to give it to you. Think about how quickly you go through a checkout. A lot of times you're just in a hurry, right? So you just kind of fill in what you have to and then go on. Same idea. So custom field orders, this would give you a list of any orders that the person had purchased from you. Now I just added this person, so obviously they're not going to have anything in any of these. We're going to talk tags in a minute. Autoresponders, which would be the bucket that they would be put in. Notes. details. So this gives you a little bit of information so you can see when was it created, where did it come from, blah, blah, blah. Did it opt in? Yes or no? And remember how I turned off the double opt-in, so this will always say no. The consent is implied. In other words, they didn't require an opt-in. And then from here is a user profile. Here's how you can actually set up user profiles. So I could actually set this person up as a product manager or an ornament. And I know we looked at this already when we were talking about user roles, but this is how you could do that, as well as create custom roles. So this is how you assign a specific contact to a role. Okay, so let me save that. And from here, I can just go back to context, manage. And then from here, I'm just going to remove that. And let's say I want to search for somebody. I don't even know. By the way, if I leave this blank and I hit new search, it'll give me everybody in my list. So you can see now I've got everybody in my list. So I've got 33 records in here. And I'm just kind of looking where we're located. So I could do a search on that. So, all right, let me see. Let me go to a specific record here. Oh, look, I got pretend users. Okay, so let's pick on Amanda here. So I'm going to click on Amanda's name. I have to click on it. And her image comes up because she has a gravatar associated with her email address here. But you can see that she has all her information in here. I can click on custom fields to find custom. Now, there's not going to be any orders in here because this isn't a live working program. Otherwise, you'd be able to see that. Recurring orders, tags, autoresponders, notes. So I could add a note. So for instance, if a client decides that they don't want to have email at this address anymore, right? So I could actually click on block email address, right? And what that does is now she's still in my database, but she won't get any email at this address. And this is what happens if somebody calls you and go, oh my God, Susan, I'm getting 8 of your emails. Well, you've got 8 different email addresses in here. So I would go in and block it. And that means it does not get sent. And then what I would do is I would just add a note. This is what I do. You know, and then I could put today, right? So I put notes in here. Okay, and there it is. And then I save it. So this is saved with the contacts. This is only for Amanda, okay? Again, details. So you can see that she actually created back on 1/18, right? She's not an affiliate. She didn't register through customer portal. She's not an account user. So this just gives you details about this specific record. And then it gives you some mailing list information and source, and then again, user profiles where you could add that, okay? From here, you also have some nice little shortcuts at the top. Sorry, making myself a note. You can email her directly. You can schedule a future email. This is really great. If you need to just contact one specific person in your list, you can email her from here, or you can send a broadcast to this person right from here. So that's what those are. Then delete, print, and then back to the list or previous. So I go back to the list, right? And then from here, I could, once again, oh, look, Boo Boo Kitty. Same thing. I could go in here and look at the information, okay? Now, when you add somebody manually as a contact, you can add them to a specific autoresponder. So if I click on subscribe to autoresponder, so for instance, if somebody buys something from me offline and I didn't run it through my shopping cart, but they still need to get the information that they purchased from me, I would add them. Oops, sorry, got to turn off my stretch clock. That's what that is. There we go. I would come in here and I would select whatever autoresponder I wanted her to be part of. So let's say that she actually purchased the One Shopping Cart Bootcamp, right? And remember, I ran it offline, so it's not going through my shopping cart. If I ran it through my shopping cart, it would automatically kick this through. So I would go in here, I would pull her up, I would go to autoresponders, I would choose the autoresponder, and then you can select whatever message you want to start with, and then hit subscribe. And then save. And now Boo Boo Kitty will get this actual, which is Judy. That's actually Judy's address. She will actually get a copy of that, okay? So just different ways that and we're going to come back to tags, but does everyone kind of understand how you can manipulate your contacts from in here and the searches? Any questions, let me know. Okay, I'm going to go back in here and hit search again. And I have all this. And from here, remember, I can search within. So I see we have people in New Jersey. So I'm going to type New Jersey, and I can hit search within results, and it only gets back the people who are in New Jersey. That's how that works. You're good, Mary? Okay, good. Okay. But the benefit to working with segment, okay, first of all, let me back up. One shopping cart is constantly changing things. It's like a moving target, okay? Where it says custom segments and save segments, they used to be called searches. They used to be called custom searches and save searches. Now they just changed the name to segments for whatever reason. It's the same thing. What this allows you to do is segment your list, right? In other words, narrow down information within a very large list. So like I said, you could search for people in a specific location, a specific job type, gender, age, whatever you want. However, that information has got to be gathered first for you to look at it. So I've got Rebecca and Tammy here. And from here, notice what else I can do. Down here at the bottom, I can export these contacts. I can send them a broadcast. I can add them to an autoresponder. I can unsubscribe them. I can delete, and I can apply or remove text. So you've got multiple items down here. Export contacts, all that does is give you just a CSV file. So you could use it for whatever. But this is really handy if you wanted to send a broadcast to a specific set of people. You could simply hit this and hit submit, and then you would be able to do a broadcast, and it would just go to these two people. So that's a great way to send specific emails to specific segments of people. Same thing, unsubscribed and subscribed. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I want to go over here, and from here, I can hit custom segments. And this is where you would do another search. Sorry, write myself a note as always. From here, you can create a new segment and realize that segment just means search. Okay, so I can see I have some saved ones here. I have Arizona customers. I have customers in Canada. I have some in customers who have placed orders. And then I've got Massachusetts customers. So I'm going to go back to custom segment here. And from here, what I can do is you can give it a name, and then you can actually run it. Now, I want to create a new one. So I'm going to hit new segment, new search. Remember, segment equals search. Okay? I'm going to hit create new. Oh, come on. There we go. So here's where you actually fill in the blanks. So the category is what? What are you looking for? This is what's beautiful about the searching in one shopping cart is you can search not only on contacts, but look at everything else you can look at. You could search for specific types of orders, products that are purchased, autoresponders, affiliates, any custom fields, stored searches, and tags. Remember, stored searches is the same thing as segments, but that was the older version. So I could come in here and choose custom fields, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. And then I can choose exact, does not contain, contain, start with, end with, basic operators. And then I can choose the custom fields, and then I could put in whatever event or value that I want. Now, obviously, I'd need to know what that is, okay? Now, I can go back here and say, I want to do contact details. So it changes. Every time you choose what you're searching in, these options are going to change. So I can look for, let's say I want to look in the state or province. Now, equals, does not equal, contains. Okay, so these are your different options. In other words, equals is exactly what you want. It has to be exact. Otherwise, it can be, equals versus exact match versus does not contain, contains, starts with, ends with, or is. Okay, so I can just say, I want it to contain, and then I can say the word new, like for New Jersey or New York or New Mexico, right? And then I can hit save. Now, why do I want that? Again, you'd have to ask yourself that question. Now, I could go back and say, you know what, I really only want New Jersey. So anyways, I'm looking for a specific location. Why is that important? Well, because maybe I'm having a local event in New Jersey and I want my local clients and prospects from New Jersey to know I'm going to be there, right? So that's why these are important. Okay, and then I can run this segment. And here, remember, Tammy and Rebecca were the two I showed you. There they are. Okay. And this is the same thing. So if you're looking for the same type of information through your contact database, whether it's location or age or whatever it might be, you can create these saved segments. And then all you have to do is run them every time. And then from here, remember how I said you could do these things? It's just easier. So creating these is a much easier way than running a search every time, right? I could just go to saved segments. I could say, okay, I want to see my Arizona clients. I hit run. There's the Arizona people right there, all three of them. Much easier than doing the whole search from the get-go. So same thing. I could go in here and say I want to see the Massachusetts customers, and I don't have any. Nobody equals that. I can say, well, maybe nobody's in Massachusetts. So maybe I'll say I want to see, I'm going to change it to country. And I'll say I want to see people who are in Canada. Oops, can't spell. And then I can change this, save. I know we have a couple of them that are in here. And then run. Okay, so I've got 3, Haley, Patricia, and Jen. So do you get the idea how these work? What are segments? And segments you can use in all different ways. From here, you can edit, you can run, you can send a broadcast. That's basically what broadcast means, so you could do that. But remember, when you get into any of these or you run any of these, once you do that, then you have the option down here at the bottom to do additional things. So you could just export your contacts because maybe your client wants to know, okay, I need to see everybody who's in a specific location or age or type of company. I can't stress enough, though, what happens is clients will come to you and go, hey, you know what? I need you to pull a report out of my One Shopping Cart for everybody who lives in, Phoenix. Well, if you're not collecting city information, you're not going to get anything back. And you have to let the clients know because they don't get that, right? A lot of times they don't understand how that works. So in order for you to pull the information, it has to be asked for, okay? Okay, so that's searching and segments, as well as adding. Back to contacts, we're going to talk about tags, okay? And I already have a couple of tags, and I'm going to jump back over here real quick to my PowerPoint. So under Manage Contacts, we talk search, create, and setting up those segments. Remember, those are previously called searches, okay? Oops, we're going to come back to import, export. I wanted to talk about tags here real quick. Okay, tags. When it comes to managing tags, basically what they are, they're contact-based, very similar to what Infusionsoft is doing. This is something that One Shopping Cart has just introduced in the last couple of months. It's something that's really new to the program. So a lot of people aren't using them. Basically, how Infusionsoft works, if you're not familiar with Infusionsoft, is Infusion sorts everything by tags. And the tags are user-defined, which means you make up the tags for how the people became to show up on your list. They went to an event, they purchased something. What did they purchase? Maybe they're a referral, whatever it might be. And so the way One Shopping Cart used to do this is you had to do it by autoresponder, which made it very clunky and very large. Now they've introduced tags to kind of help you. And they're stored with the contact record, which means you can sort by them and search for them by contact. But what they're used for is to track where the contact came from. How do they appear on your list? How do they get to where they are today? They signed up for your free offer. They purchased something. They signed up for something. You met them at a networking event, whatever it is. This is a new way to do it, and I really think it's a great way to handle this, which is one of the reasons I really liked Infusionsoft, because it wasn't as kludgy as One Shopping Cart. When it came to try to figure out how people showed up on your list, you had to create an autoresponder. So, I actually have probably 300 autoresponders in my One Shopping Cart because every time I do something, I create a new autoresponder. When I really may not need it, I just need to be able to tag them. Well, there wasn't a way to tag them before. You had to do it as an autoresponder. So realize that this is something that's kind of new, and I really recommend that you embrace this for any new clients that you bring on board. And you can add these via a contact record or through web forms. So we're going to do web forms next week. And then we're going to come back here and talk about custom fields. So just so you understand what they are. So I was under contacts, okay? I went into manage tags, and I have 2 tags here, One Shopping Cart, a freebie. So if I want to create a new tag, let's say that we are going to some type of networking event, and I belong to eWomen Network. So I'll say eWomen Network event, and then maybe I'll even put the date. You want to be as descriptive as possible, especially if, you want to pinpoint when you met somebody. Oops. So on and so forth. So I could create that. Now, I don't necessarily have to put the date in there. I could add the date if I wanted. Come and save. And there it is. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and start tagging people with this. Tara, regarding tags, so the burden then gets put on creating multiple forms where each form has a different tag, correct? You could do it with multiple forms, or you could do one forms and you could just use autoresponders. So you have a choice now. You either can do them all through tags, or you can do them through autoresponders. I would not recommend necessarily doing both, just so it's easy. Like right now, I said I have all autoresponders. I've done it for years that way. Okay, so I don't really want to change. So I just use autoresponders. Yep. So, figure out what works best for you, but your clients may want to do it another way. But the problem with this, in my opinion, Tara, is they're trying to do things that Infusionsoft is doing. So now you've got two ways to do things, and that causes confusion, right? You're welcome. Debbie, when you set up the event tags, is it best to set up a rule of thumb and naming them like you do for the campaign? Yes, always use a naming convention, and you can determine what it is or what your clients are. Now, these aren't really much of a naming convention, but I would definitely say yes. Okay. Great. So Tara, you're situated. Yeah. So I would say, if you don't mind using autoresponders, that's fine. But if you're going to start using tags, then they're going to have to be identified by web forms. But if you don't use web forms to add contacts, then you have to add it manually. Okay. All right. So that's how you add a tag. So let's add one more. So let's say I do, let's say that this is a purchase. And then this could be like a naming convention. I could say purchase. Now, I might want to be specific. Remember, the information that you need to pull out is the information you need to put in. So if I just want to say purchase and I could say boot camp, well, that may not help me, because what if I want to talk to people who just bought my One Shopping Cart boot camp? If I just have one tag that says boot camp, how do I know what boot camp they bought? I have to go and look through all their details to figure out which one it is and then work from there. Not something that I want to do. So instead of just purchase boot camp, I could say, WordPress boot camp, right? So I'm specific, and it's a purchase versus a sign up, and you can choose whatever verbiage you want. Right? And then I can save. Okay? And then you can edit these very easily, and you can do, now you can see I don't have any contacts with these. So from here, now I could go back to my contacts. We're kind of backing our way in here. And I just hit search, right, to bring up. So let's say here's Patty. So I click on Patty. And what I can do for Patty is I could just go straight to tags. And then you notice I have a drop down for tags here, right? I could just choose the tag. And you can have multiple tags. Oops, I hit add tag. And then save. Voila. So now when I look at tags, so I could say that she has that. And then she maybe signed up for my freebie too. So I'll add that. And now I've got two. That's all there is to it. Now that's if you add them manually. Next week, we're going to look at sign-up forms or web forms that will do it automatically. So you can actually attach a tag to a web form. And so anybody who comes through that web form will automatically get the tag and be put in a specific autoresponder. So that's how tags work, right? And those are things you can search for just like you can search for anything else. But the benefit to those is to help you identify how people became part of your list, part of either became a client or a potential client, and how they came up on your list. Okay. So that's tags. Custom field. Oops. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Custom fields. Custom fields allow you to ask for specific types of details. So as I mentioned, if you want to know somebody's age, you want to know what type of business they have, what gender they are. It all depends on the client. Right? And you can see here, I have referred by, I have event, and I have class completed. These are fairly simple to create. And basically you create them and then you determine how they show up on the contact form and the shopping cart, whether it's a mobile cart and a shopping cart. Now realize that these 4 labels change depending on the version of One Shopping Cart you have. Okay, because remember there's different levels. These are going to change. Like if you don't have a storefront or a mobile store, then you don't have the cart option. Okay. So this allows you to collect specific types of information. So I'm going to hit create, and then this is a label, pretty self-explanatory. So let's say that I want to know I'm trying to think of something that would be good. Totally off the cuff here. Say that you're working in, I know this is kind of funny, but this is just my brain, astrological sign. I can't even spell that, right? I know that's not something you would probably ask, but you never know, right? You never know what kind of client you're going to have. So that would be your sign. And then where do you want to save it to? Do you want to save it to the order or to the contact? Now you can save these to the order that they have or to the contact. I would say save it to the contact because it's easier to get to than if you save it to a specific order, because then you have to look for the order versus the contact. And if they don't order anything from you, it may not matter. How do you want to display it? A text field, a text area, a drop down, a checklist, or radio buttons. Now you could actually say, I want to do a drop down. Okay, now you actually have to fill in the drop down. And notice that you can say here, display on checkout. Is it required or not? Well, yeah, it's required. And I want to display it on the checkout, and I want to make it required. So in other words, I'm saying that I want to ask for the astrological sign on either checkout, my regular shopping cart or my mobile cart, and required. So this means show it, right? This is display. This is required. Sorry, I've got a helicopter flying really low over my house here. Hold on. Sounds like he's going to land on my roof. Okay. So now because I chose a drop-down list, I actually have to fill in the blanks. So I am going to just kind of go through this really quick. Okay. And I'm not going to fill them all in, but I just want to give you the idea. So Libra, Taurus. Okay, guys, give me some more. Leo. Anybody want to give me their astrological sign to keep it easy so my brain doesn't have to hurt? Oh, Virgo. I'm thinking of these as I type. Aha, look at you guys. Pisces. My son's a Pisces. That's how you spell that. Pisces. Oops, no, Pisces. Okay, good. Sagittarius. That's a big one. Yes. Okay, I'll come back to that. Gemini. That's my husband. Okay, I'm going to cheat. Where's Sagittarius? There you are. S-A-G. I have to look at this. S-A-G-I-T-T-A-R-I-U-S. Thank you. Thank you, Tara, for spelling that out. I was thinking of that one, but I'm like, I can't spell that. I got Gemini. Ooh, did I get Aries? No, I did not get, and I didn't get Cancer. Thank you. Aries. And, oh, look, we're getting most of them. Cancer. Oops, spell, Susan. I think I got all the ones that are there. Ooh, Scorpio and Capricorn. Okay, Scorpio. I'm the first one. Tara, I'm a Libra. My birthday is actually a month from today. I just realized that. I'm like, hey. Scorpio. Oh, Scorpio. I did that. Capricorn. That's the one I missed. Capricorn. Did I get everything? I think we got them all. Are we pretty darn close if we didn't get them all? Libra, Taurus, Leo, Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, Cancer. I know we're missing Aquarius. I think that's how you spell it. Ha, look at that. We got most of them. If not, and then I'm going to hit save. We got most of them. Thank you, everybody. Did I miss one? What other one did I miss? Lisa, I'm going to go back in there. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We got 12. Isn't there 12 of them? Or is there 13? No, I got them all. Okay, good. Hey, what do you know? Thank you. All right, so one thing I wanted to show you, can you see how you can move these up and down? See what the arrows do? Okay, Libra's at the top. If I want to move Aries up, I could just hit up, or Sagittarius up. It just moves them up and down in the list if there's a specific order. Then I hit save. Okay, so here it is. And you can also see that it says display on checkout, required on checkout, display on mobile, required. So it shows you all of this, okay? Very simple. And then you can hit edit. So realize there are different types. So I have 3 drop downs and a text field. So let's create one more real quick. So this one, let's say, my brain is fried today. What would we ask for? Can you guys give me an example? What would you ask for? What would be something you'd want to know about your clients that I haven't already created? Thank you for your input. I do appreciate it. Years in business, favorite color. I like that. I love that. All right, let's do years in business. I like it. Years in business. And then I could short name years in biz, right? Okay. So contact form, we'll leave it there. Text field, we're going to leave it as a text field, which means they can type it in. And is it required? We'll say no. So we'll just save. Ugh. Fine. I'll just put years. Doesn't like what I did there. There we go. Okay, so that's interest. All right, I'm going to do one more. So let's do favorite color. I just want to show you all the different ways you can do this color. Now, remember, text area is just like a comment field. A drop down we did, you could do checklist, which is very similar, but except you put check marks like you do here, or you could do radio buttons, okay, which would give you the round buttons. Oh, hold on. Sorry. My son just walked up behind me and scared the living you-know-what out of me. Okay. Okay, go. Jeez, sorry. Nothing like turning around thinking that there's nobody home and there's somebody standing behind you. That's fine. Sorry. Okay, so radio buttons. Then I could go in here and say, well, red. My heart's still racing. Yellow. So in other words, I'm only giving you the option to choose one of these colors that you like. Yeah, red, yellow, blue, and green. Now notice on this one, I can choose a default. Do y'all know what I mean by default? In other words, if you don't choose a color, it's going to say your color's red, and then save. So just trying to show you all the different ways that you can ask for custom fields. Yeah, Tara, I know. Good thing it was only your kid. I'm thinking, I thought I heard, yeah. I'm thinking my little son is, my husband went to get him, and I'm thinking my older son, which is the one that snuck up behind me, is supposed to be doing tutorials, so I'll have to find out why he's not there. But anyway, okay. So do you get the idea how to do the custom fields? These are really great when you have clients that say, well, I really want to collect X information from people who sign up on my list or buy something for me. This is where you would set that up. And then remember, if you need to pull information, then you need to make it a required field. Otherwise, people are going to skip it. They're not going to add that information in there. Okay. All right. So with that, it shows you here what shows up on the contacts. So here's all mine, right? This just shows you the current ones. Okay. Then your cart options. What I said would go in the cart, right? So that you can see these are the things I said would go in the cart. I have just astrology here. And then your mobile cart. Remember, you won't necessarily have mobile cart depending on your version. All right, so those are your custom fields. And then import and export. I mean, this is pretty simple. Export would just allow you to export your contacts. You basically hit export. And then you would put in an email address and hit continue. And it will queue it up. And then it will send you a hyperlink that you would click on that will download the CSV file. I recommend that you export your contact list at least once a quarter. It depends on how many you have, right? But that way you have a backup copy for whatever reason. I just think it's a good thing to have, because remember, you know, when you're working with email marketing tools, whatever it is, you know, if somebody complains, they can freeze your account, which means you can't really communicate with anybody. I just always like the idea of knowing I have a backup if I ever needed it. So I just export it once a quarter. For importing, pretty simple. Remember, importing double opt-in. It's just very simple. You basically would choose a file, and you can either choose a TSV, a CSV, or a TXT. No Excel file. So I click on that, and I actually think I have one here. I think I downloaded one. Yeah, here it is. This funny numbered one. Okay, so I choose it. It's a CSV file. And then it says, tell us about your contacts. So you have to actually tell, because remember, this is a double opt-in. You have to tell One Shopping Cart a little bit about it. So because of the CAN-SPAM law, here's some options. These contacts were collected online from my website. They were collected in person. I am moving my list. This is a list of customers, so on and so forth. You also have the ability to do. So I could say this was collected online from my website, and I could say, my website through a different carrier. Now, just so you know, the list that I'm importing is all of you guys. I actually exported the autoresponder for this class out of my shopping cart, and I'm going to import it in here, so all your information will be in here, just so you know. So that's what's happening here. So I'll say next. And this is how you can line up everything. Can you see this? Email versus email. So this is just making sure your fields line up, right? And then I have this stuff, do not import. So if I don't want the date enter, the IP, you know, the workshop, I can say, well, where does it go? I need to make sure I have a place that I can put it in here. So if I don't have a workshop in here, then I can't really, you know, stick it in that field. Now I do have a referral field. You can see. I can make sure that goes. So my point is if you're going to import something that has custom fields, make sure you have the custom field here to put it in. Like I don't have a workshop field. Does that make sense to everybody? You have to make sure. And it also says if you don't, you can also create a new custom field here and then finish the import. Got to have a one-to-one relationship. Okay, and so now here's the choose a confirmed opt-in message. Only new contacts receive the confirmed opt-in message. If they're already in your database, they won't. Okay, so if you guys are already in my database, you won't get this. But notice I can choose one of these. Please confirm your conscription. And then I have all the default ones. Remember we went through these earlier? Maybe I did that with you last week. So here we go. Okay. All of this stuff. You have to be able to use a confirmed opt-in message so that you guys are going to get this, actually. Each one of you are going to get this. Okay. And then I hit next. Okay. Now you can actually add tags to this. So I actually have this one shopping cart tag. So I can push it over and say, okay, I want to create it, and you can create a tag here, by the way, but this helps you segment. So I'm going to say you guys are all from one shopping cart. And if you have an autoresponder, I could actually go in here and say webinar one shopping cart. And then I can choose the date. So realize you guys are going to get this email. And then I would hit finish. Tara, do you use double opt-in? I do. However, I know I lose someone. I don't know. You know what? If you don't want to be on my list, you can simply hit the unsubscribe button. That's what I feel. Because I had too many people go, well, I signed up for something and I never got it from you. And I'm like, okay, you know what? It's because they don't see that second email. That means I have to click on something in order to subscribe before they get whatever it is I promised. So I just took off the double opt-in for web forms. Okay, and I did that because I was constantly backtracking to try to find whatever it is I sent them. I'm like, screw it. I'll just let them subscribe. And then if they don't want to be on they can unsubscribe. All right. So I'm going to finish that. Now you can see that this is going to go out to, you guys are going to get this at 5:57. So it's 10 minutes from now. Actually, yeah, because you guys, it's Eastern time, right? So you'll get that subscription and then I could just continue. Now, if you don't do anything with that, that's fine. You just won't be put on the list. Okay. All right, so that's your contact list. So real quick, so we talked about custom fields. If I go back up here, talked about import, export. Remember, if you're importing, it has to be one of these 3 items or 3 file types, and you're double opt-in only when you do an import. I would export, easy, one simple step. We did tags, we talked about custom fields, different ways that you can do them, but basically it's to track specifics to your business, whatever it is. So some tips real quick. It's temperamental. I told you the best way is to use the email address for best results. So you can use the wildcard character if you do like S, and you have to have at least 2 letters. So it would have to be SU star to get everybody who started with the SU in their first name or last name. You can create segments, which were also called searches based on, name, whatever it might be. Tags are a great way to organize contacts. It's new to one shopping cart. Custom fields are a great way to collect additional marketing details. And again, I said export all your contacts on a quarterly basis. Okay. So now let's talk products, categories, and coupons. So for product setup, and I actually have a checklist for this, you really need to go into all of these things. You need to know the details of the product, the settings, the categories, and images, the downloads, the links, the templates, the attributes, and the autoresponder. So we're going to go through all these right now. So if a client comes to you and says, Delane, I need you to set up a new product, you would say, okay, what kind of information do you need? So what you could do is just send them a quick questionnaire and say, here, can you fill this out? Now, some clients know what you need. Others who are new may not know the length of details that you have to have in order to set up a product. So we're going to go into products, manage products. And by the way, there's an express, it just asks the question. So we're going to go the long way, but you can also do the short way, okay? Products can be tangible, physical products. They can be online products. It can be just a number of things. And basically, you can see I have a list of them here. I actually have 4. I have a ton of stuff here. Shows the SKU number, pricing, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So we're just going to start with create new. By the way, you can search for these 2 very easily. Okay. Here we go. And I'm going to go through all of this one by one. So first off, active. And by the way, you can click on this little question mark. It'll tell you a little bit more about it. But is it an active product? Yes or no? Obviously, if it's not active, you would check the check mark out. Is it a featured? Now, remember, if you have a storefront or you're using a shopping cart, a featured product would be something that you're featuring because maybe you're knocking off the price. Maybe it's free. Maybe it's a new product and you want it to be featured. So it would be in the shopping cart along with whatever somebody is purchasing as a featured item. If you've done any online shopping in any time, you will see this a lot in different shopping carts where they say, oh, you know, for a limited time, this product is half price. That's a featured product. Okay. Hide means it hides it in the storefront. Hide is only there if you have a storefront type of subscription with one shopping cart. In other words, it wouldn't show up in the storefront. So those are just checkboxes. SKU number. A SKU number is usually only needed if you have a fulfillment house, which we had talked about in the setup. And the SKU number would be whatever that fulfillment house gave you, because that's how they know when a product is ordered what to ship based on the SKU number. So every different fulfillment house is going to have a different SKU number or standard, which you need to get from them when you set up the fulfillment. So if Karen sets up fulfillment with Amazon, for instance, she would send the product and have them assemble it or ship it or whatever they're going to do. They would give her the SKU number that goes with that product. So make sure it's a one-to-one. Does everybody understand that? A lot of times clients are going, okay, I have a product that I want to send, but they don't give you the SKU number, which means when somebody purchases it and it gets sent to the fulfillment house, there's no SKU number, so guess what happens? Nothing gets shipped. Nothing gets put together. So the SKU number has to match the SKU number that comes from the fulfillment house, whoever that is, and they have to be part of that second email address that gets set up when you set up the cart. So they get a copy of the purchase. So they know, hey, I need to do that. Much better than relying on you to forward it to them, because you want it to be instantaneous. When they buy, you want the fulfillment house to know so they can get it out to them, okay? So your SKU number would go here. So I'll just put a number in here. Oops, sorry, got to click over here first, right? Very simple. Naming, there should be a naming convention here, okay? And again, it depends on your products and services, but I really think this is something you can offer as a service to your clients. Help them understand that it helps keep everything nicely, neatly organized. So for instance, if they sell classes or they sell study guides, like for me, I have LC, I have SS on mine. So LC, as you can see, are live classes, right? SS and me would be self-study. And that's how I just keep track of it, right? And MC would be mini camp. I mean, that's how I do it. Actually, I do that. I take that back. I have LC and SS, and then I also have other things for like coaching and what. So let's just do an SS. So I'll just use this one, for instance. Okay. So I've created a self-study package or VA expertise mini camp, right? And that's the name of it. Now, for me, the nice thing about this is it will show up in the list under SS along with all my other self-studies. Okay. So that's your naming. Be as descriptive as possible. I have seen shopping carts run the gamut. In other words, I have some that are just like, huh? What is this? Because they don't really spell out what it is, or they use a bunch of abbreviations. But if you're not the first person in there, you don't know what it means, and there's no documentation to tell you what it means. So very important that it's very descriptive. Same thing with your autoresponder names, right? When you're doing an autoresponder, make sure that it's very clear what it is. Yeah, this is the name that the customer sees. It is the name that they see. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the SS means. I mean, unless your client doesn't want them to see it, it doesn't matter to me. It's irrelevant, right? That's my naming system. Does that make sense, Mary? Yeah. So you help them figure out what works best for them. And they may come to you and ask, and then you could just take a look at their products and services, and you could just give them ideas. So when it comes to pricing, this take payment is new. You still have just a fixed price, which means if it costs a specific amount of money, you put that in. So I'll say that this costs, $125. That's actually not what it costs. I'll say it's $69, right? No dollar sign, because you set that up. Remember when you did the setup, you set up your currency then. So my $69, right? And then I can put in a short description. It tells you a little bit about it, 240 characters. This will be shown to customers on your store and within the shopping cart. Same thing, this information will be showed on your product detail page and indexed by search engines. So you want to make sure you use some keywords in here, right? So you want to have a short description. And I just basically am saying what it says here. Okay, and I could get more descriptive. So I could I just copy and paste this, and then I could put additional information. I could put by the Techie Mentor, right? Okay, So let me just save this real quick. And I always save as I go along. So we're going to go back and talk about take a payment here in just a minute. Okay, let me back up here. Got some questions. Sorry. Debbie, if you go in and edit names for a client, will the edit show up in the host as general find and replace? What do you mean as the up in the hoster as a general find and replace? That's a good question. Because you can't do a find and replace like you can in Word or Excel. You actually have to go in manually and change each and every one of them. Tara, we're going to take a payment here in just a second. I'm going to come back up to that, okay? You mean in history? No, it doesn't have a history. So it wouldn't show the history of the original name. Okay? All right, so let's talk about take a payment. So take a payment allows you to specify a payment. Now, most people use this for, pay what you can or for donations. So they put this in, they being One Shopping Cart, put this in for anybody who does donation-based stuff. So if you use a shopping cart to sell things that maybe you do charity above and beyond, for instance, if you go to eBay and you purchase something through eBay, you have the ability to add $1 for a specific charity or whatever amount that you want. That's a take a payment. You're allowing the end user to dictate the amount. Debbie, but a strong database system allows you to do that. Yeah, and you know what? The information is probably there within One Shopping Cart, but it's not visible to you to see it. Okay, so Tara, does that answer your question on what's to take a payment? It's really for people who do donation-based, or some people do, pay what you can. So basically, you could put in a default price, which means this is the default price that shows up. So for again, if you're going through eBay and you're checking out, and a lot of times businesses will have their preferred charity, and in there will already be typed $1, which means all you have to do is hit yes, and it will automatically, add $1 to your total to give to a specific charity. Okay, so that would be here. I could put $1, right? Or you could do minimum maximum price, which means, if I say pay what you can't pay less than $10 for this, right? Maximum price, you're not going to pay me more than $40 for this. So you can see that I filled this out. Now, you cannot do a fixed and a take. You do one or the other. Fixed payment, if you're selling a product and service and you want that price for it, then it's fixed. If you're doing donations, you're doing pay as much as you can, this is where you can automatically put this in. Your default, your minimum, your maximum, and the label that shows up on the shopping cart, right? And we'll do a take payment one here in just a minute. I'm going to go back to my fixed price, okay? So let's get through this one first, okay? All right, and then notice up here you have a product ID. This number right here is unique to every product. It's dynamic. And then also you have a page URL. This is because this shopping cart has a storefront. Otherwise, this page URL is not there. And then you could edit it just like you do in WordPress. You know how you can edit the permalink? I could edit this to say something else if I wanted, right? So instead of saying that SS blah, 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 I could just say expertise self-study, right? Make it a shorter link and say okay. Okay, so you can see there and then save. Remember, that doesn't show up if you don't have the storefront. Like I don't have a storefront, so that doesn't show up in mine. Settings. All right, so hold on. We're going to go through this one too. This is a lot of goodies in this one. So let me write this down. Hold on a second. Okay, so for settings, sale price, pretty self-explanatory. If you're going to put something on sale, right? You want to give people a sale price. You can go in here and say, okay, what was the price I said? Was it $69? Yeah. I want to put this on sale for $59. And I'm only going to put it on sale for a specific date time. In other words, if you have enable sale price on, that means it's active. You can flip it off, right? You can say, no, I don't want it on. And then you can say when it starts. So I could put it on sale today and I can end it tomorrow. So this is my 24-hour sale. That's how you can put things on sale. Pretty simple. And then it will expire tomorrow. Thanks, Catherine. Okay, so from there, I'm going to go across inventory. This is only if you have inventory. Most people don't have an inventory because you sell online products and services. There's no inventory. And if you have a fulfillment house, guess who does the inventory for you? They do. Now, if you're doing the inventory out of your garage, then if this product is something that you're shipping with inventory, this is where you would put it. So you could say I have an inventory of 50 and go ahead and alert me when there's only 10 left, right? And then I can allow for a back order if I want. Now, this is irrelevant because I'm not selling something that has that, but that's what this inventory is for. Not a lot of people use it. Most people who sell something that is an actual product has a fulfillment house that does all that for them. Shipping. Okay, we're going to do shipping and taxes a little bit later. But if this item is, again, a tangible product that needs to be shipped, you need to have set up the shipping within one shopping cart for this to work. But from here, you could click charge shipping. You could add the weight. If there's a handling, a shipping and handling fee, what is it? The length, the width, and the height. Now, when it comes to shipping, you can also do, and I always use eBay because I shop on eBay all the time. You can have what's called kind of a live ship rate. In other words, when they figure out, if it's the same item over and over again, let's say it's a CD, once you determine where you're located, so you put in your name and your address, it will automatically give you a shipping rate based on that. But it knows the length, the width, and the height because it's the same item every time. So if you're shipping this yourself, you might want this. If you're charging above and beyond for the shipping that comes from the fulfillment house, you would obviously put that information in here. But this is for this specific product, okay? Tara, I use inventory sometimes to limit number of people in a class, and you could certainly do that as well instead of a tangible product. Great idea. Delane, do you use the inventory application when you offer the first 10 to sign up for a class to alert you when that threshold has been met? Yes, I do. That's how I know. So like if I say the first 20 are going to get a discount on this price, I know how many by using that. Exactly. So similar to what Tara does, but I do it not to limit number of seats, but to let me know when a certain number has been reached so I can flip the switch and make it full price again. So good question. Yes. So yeah, there's different ways you can think about that. Okay, that's shipping. Okay. Do you charge tax? Same thing. You'd have to set up the taxes and the county or the country and the state tax. Depends on where you're located. It depends on what the item is and depends on whether or not you charge tax. So that would be that. And we're going to come back to that after we start talking about taxes. Now, obviously, you have to make sure that you check these boxes if you want to charge shipping and if you want to charge taxes because they're not on by default. If you ship, do you want to include a packing slip, which is just like a receipt that the system will print out and also can be part of their checkout and receipt when they finish their purchase. But this can also be alerting your fulfillment house to put in a packing slip as well. Related products. This is kind of fun. Related products, when you go into the shopping cart, will say, well, you know what? If you like this product, you might really like this one. Amazon does this. Overstock does this. Any place that you go that says, oh, Debbie, if you like this, you might like this too, right? It's just a way to upsell. So what did I do? This was a self-study. What else? Do I have a self-study in here for anything? Let's see. Let me just put this one in here, even though they're really not the same, but that's building sales and landing pages. So I could choose any type of, and you'll see this when we get to the shopping cart, right? So I saved it and I can go back to my product details. And then this one has to do with quantity breaks. So again, thinking about purchasing, let's just talk mugs, coffee mugs, okay? Let's say you sell coffee mugs and you can enable a quantity discount, which means if you buy 10 or more, I'm going to give you a better price. A lot of places do this, okay? The minimum you have to buy is 1. The maximum you can buy is 10. And I can give you a discount of, 10%. Or you can do $1, right? Or you could just do a flat rate. And then I could create a quantity, right? And then I could do another. Look how this works. So from 1 to 10, I'll give you $10 off. If you buy 11 to 20, I'll give you $15 off. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm creating quantity breaks for these. So now you get more. The more you buy, the more you save. Does that make sense? Now, obviously, this is irrelevant here because I don't have a product that has quantities, but that's what this is for. So if you're selling coffee mugs, you see how you can give people a break if they buy, a case or more. You give them a price up. So I'm going to delete those. Only because in this instant, it doesn't make sense, right? and then save. I save on every page. Last thing here is if you have an affiliate program, which means you have had to set it up, you can just pick and choose what products you sell that you will pay affiliates for. So this one you can see has a check mark, and then you can choose, like you can see I have different affiliates here. It could be the default one or a specific one. And then if you have additional pricing that you're going to pay above and beyond that, which would be first and second tier, first referral, which means if you refer it to one person, that's first tier. And if that person, the first tier, refers it to another, so you can actually get paid twice for one. So you could get $10 for the first tier, $5 for the second. Okay? And we're going to go into affiliates more as we go. So you can see there's so many options. On to options. Remember how we talked about this? Now this isn't really relevant here, but an option would allow you to have product options. Again, similar to attributes, but you could spend them a different way. And we're going to create another product, so we're going to come back to this. But basically, you can see you have options. So you could say, do you want to bundle something together? Do you want to my mind just drew a blank what I was going to say. All right, I have to think about it for a minute. But basically, this allows you to do up to 25 product options for each product. Again, it's product specific. I've never really used this with a specific product. I usually use attributes instead of product options, but this is another option. And a lot of times you can do things like you can say whether or not you want to include additional things that go with that specific product. Colors is more of an attribute, Mary. So there's really a fine line between this. And again, most of the time options are going to be for a tangible physical product. Okay. We're going to come back to that one. Categories. You can set up categories, which is a great way to help you store and categorize your products. Now you can see I have several here, right? You can see I have training. So I could choose a training, and then it also appears in other places. Now we're going to come back and set up a category. But you can see here, I can just click training as well. And what categories allows you to do, which is great when you have coupons, you could, like, for instance, say, I'm going to give 10% off all my self-study courses. So in other words, you don't have to check each individual one. If you have 50 of them, you can say, I'm going to put a coupon on a category, and then it does everything that is categorized, which is a great time saver. Images. I always say you want to have an image with your product. Okay, always have an image. Like I use Boxshot King for all of my images. And basically I hit add, and this is the media library. We talked about this. So I can say digital products. I'm sure that I know this is one shopping cart, but still. I can simply click it. Remember, you can upload here too. And then I could just insert this. So there it is. And then I could put alternate text here. You can change it to whatever you want. Now here's the thing, you have to hit OK here and then save here. And it will resize it for you. Now I know that product image doesn't go with what I have, but that was the one that was in there, so I use that. Really recommend having an image. Downloads. So if this is a downloadable item, in other words, you're going to download it, and it's a digital delivery, sorry. If it's a digital delivery, this is where remember we did the vault when we set everything up? This is where you tie it into a product. So you would load it up into the vault under the setup menu. You would come in here and you would say enable digital download. So it would know, oh, okay, when they purchase this, I'm going to send them a digital download. Remember, the benefit with the digital download in here is it expires, right? 24 hours, 2 hours, and number of actual downloads. So I would just check that box, and then I would hit select. And it takes you to the digital vault. Used to be you could upload, but you can everything has to be in the vault now in order for it to be a digital download. It used to not be that way, but it is now. So I could go through here and say, okay, this is what I want to use. I'm just trying to find something. I should do this one. So I'm just going to hit the check mark. And it pulls it up. And then here's the custom download page instructions. So I can say, please be sure. Now you can put what you want here. Remember, if it expires, you probably want to tell them. So on and so forth. Okay? Save. Now, that's the top part, right? And here's the nice thing that says test download, so I could hit send. It's going to send a test download to Techimentor, and I can test it to make sure that it works. The link works, everything works. I can actually look at it to see if I like the way it's set up. And then down here, use the digital license feature. Remember, if you're selling software or something that has a license, above and beyond maybe what's up here, you would check this box. You would upload any additional licensing information that you have. Now, this is product licenses should be listed as username and password. And it shows you examples. So in other words, you'd have to create a little file, username 1, password 1. These are the different ways that you could do it. So you would upload it here, or you can paste them in here, and you would hit save, right? Then how many is low? So similar to inventory. So if you only sell so many licenses for something, what's considered low license level? 5. Username and password is what's standard. And then here's your licensing information. This is what's at the top of the email, right? Right? And then save. Make sense? Now, I didn't do a lot of digital licensing. I did a few here and there. I did a lot of the digital downloads, so I'm just going to take that off and save. Okay, and it removes that. Okay, links. So this is where you can find the links to your product. So for instance, I could hit test. This will also show you what your shopping cart looks like. So here's my shopping cart. Here's my product. See my little image here? Package, blah, blah, blah. Here's my featured product that I added. There's no image here, but can you see this is what I said? Remember how I said, related product? Other customers bought, that's a related product. And here's your featured products. These two are featured already. That's what that looks like. So I can test this, right? And if I had a coupon code, you have to make sure that this feature is on if you want to use coupon codes. And that's something you turn on as part of your setup. We talked through that. And then from here, you can continue shopping, you can check out, you can recalculate, or you can clear your cart. Now, if I hit clear cart, it clears out my shopping cart, okay? Now, when it comes to this, here's a couple of secrets for you. Your destination URL and your clear cart URL should always be back, which means it takes them back to the previous page if they clear their cart. Mine didn't work because I'm testing it. But that way, it doesn't just hang up and they have an empty shopping cart in front of them. So you always want to have back and back. Thank you. Do you have a specific thank you page for this specific product? If so, this is where you put that thank you. I recommend just having a generic thank you for everything, because otherwise you're constantly changing the thank you pages and sometimes you forget. So like I have a generic thank you page for live courses. I have a generic thank you page for self-studies, and I put it here. I hit save. So you have two different options here. You have step 1 and step 2 checkout. So you can see the difference when you hit test. And by the way, you want to test everything. Okay, now in this instance, they look the same. But if I scroll down, do you see where my billing information goes, my payment? So it's all on one screen versus 2 screen. That's all the difference is. Is it 1 step or 2 step, the process? That's all it's asking you in that instance. Is it a 1-step checkout or a 2-step checkout? And you would hit test. Now these links here that you have, these are the links that you would put behind a button to buy something. So if they click on register or purchase or sign up, these are the links that you actually put behind the buttons. You can put a URL in the back area. I just put back. It works. I never put a URL in there. I just put this destination URL and clear cart URL. I just put the word back. Works like a charm. If you want to determine where they go to a different page than the one they started on, Tara, then you could definitely put one in there. Yep, back works like a charm. And then you have product page. Now, if you have a shopping cart, remember, a storefront, this is what this whole product page is for, because you could have a specific page in your storefront. This isn't on my shopping cart because I don't have the type with a store. But you could hit create a quick link for sharing. And you see how you can actually create links. You can actually create buttons. You can do a QR code if you want. So this is kind of fun. You can come in here and just choose generate links. You can say what it says. And then, again, it gives you some different links. That's all. By the way, the difference between this URL and link, this is a straight URL. This is the actual HTML code. That's what the difference is between those, okay? Template. Do you have a product template? Now, I actually have some templates in here, but product page, again, has to do with your storefront. If you don't have a storefront, then you don't have that option. But I could actually choose this, custom product, and then I can also, from here, I can add HTML, and then your metadata. You can have a title, keywords, and description, which will help you if you have a storefront and you want it to be searchable. This will help you do that. You would put in a title. What did I do? Right, and then I could put my keywords in here. Right, and then my description here. Packager. Period. Save. So my point is, remember, your options will be different depending on the subscription they have. Recurring. Okay, this is a big one. This is important, just like recurring is important with your gateway. Remember how I said when you set up your gateway, you always want to set them up as recurring, even if maybe they won't take recurring payments. That way you know it's done. Here's where you can set up a recurring payment for a specific product. Very simple. Turn it on here. Okay, and you get all these other options. How much to charge your customer? Okay, so I said $69 for this. By the way, your recurring price can be whatever price you want, or it could be the same price as the purchase. So I could say, okay, well, they get it at $69, and then I'm going to charge them. A lot of times when you are part of a membership program, this is what they're doing. It's setting up a payment plan, right? And it just continues to either go and churn until you cancel it, or when you set a limit. So let's just say for this one, I'm going to recur $69. No limit means there's no limit, which means you have to physically cancel it yourself or tell us and we'll cancel it for you. Or if you want to charge a specific number of times, now realize that where it says charge blank times does not include the initial one. The initial one is not included in this. So in other words, right now, this would be 2 payments, right? The initial payment when they purchased and one more time after that. Make sure that's really clear. They changed that. It used to be, it included the initial. Now it does not. I found that one out the hard way. So you would put the number in here. Remember, if it's unlimited, it's no limit. If it's a specific number of times to charge, you would put it in here. How often? Every what days? The first charge is after so many days or monthly. So I could say every 30 days, right? That's common. Or a lot of times you might sign up for something, right? And you get the first, 30 days free, and then they charge you, right? And if you forget to cancel your credit card, they're going to charge you, which is what this one is. The first charge is after 15 days, and then every 30 days thereafter. Make sense? Or you can just charge monthly. So it's the same date every month. So if you sign up on the 15th, it's the 15th of every month. Okay. And so then you have your options. Allow customers to cancel billing in customer portal. Remember we talked about the customer portal when we were doing setup? Some clients don't use a customer portal, but if you want them to be able to cancel their billing, you would simply check the box. Do you want to charge shipping on recurring orders? Well, if I'm sending you something every time, sure. If not, if it's a digital product, not worrying about it. Do you want to track inventory? And on successful rebill, because maybe it tries to bill it and it doesn't go through, PayPal will automatically try, or whatever your merchant account is, will try again within a specific number of days. Oops, I can't believe it. Stretch cloth keeps coming back. Sorry. Telling me to get out of my chair. Go away. Okay. On successful rebill. So in other words, it has rebilled it. Do you want to start rebilling from the rebill date or go back to the original date? So that just is a decision that you want to make. Do you want to just keep going on this date going forward or go back to the date? Maybe it was on the 1st instead of the 11th. Lastly, automatically update autoresponder subscriptions when a recurring order status fails, is active, is overdue, paused, canceled, or completed. So you can set up autoresponders that go with whatever type of payment you have. And they basically sit this here. So you'd have to set those up, right? And I don't think I have any in here. But that would basically let them know if their order failed, it would send them an email and saying your order failed. or if it was active, or if it was overdue, if it was paused or canceled, you could have specific ones, which is nice. They didn't always have that. You would save it as a rule and then save it here. Okay. Attributes. Attributes was something that we actually looked at a little bit earlier. And this is an attribute for adult. Now, these are attributes that are actually created under the setup. And attributes can be, again, things like color, size, font. Trying to think of what else I could come up with off the top of my head. That would be something you would choose. Now, this is an age group, and this was created under the setup menu. Okay. And then autoresponders. Every product has an autoresponder associated with it. So when you create a product, you need an autoresponder to send them just a note that says, you know what, we got your order, thank you. Doesn't have to say anything else. But I think it's important that they know that you got it by sending them an email. So I could come in here, I would simply check the box, and I would hit save. So every product should be associated with an autoresponder. Upsell, we're going to do upsell later, so we'll come back to that. But that kind of gives you a really quick run through of all the different things that you have. Now, I know we're running kind of short on time, so we'll have to do our coupons and our categories next week, which is fine. We still have a lot of time to go through everything. Sometimes I'm never sure how long it takes. I do want to create another one, though, real quick. So I'm going to go back to my products. Okay. I'm going to hit create new. And for this one, let's say I want to do, I'm trying to think of what's a good one. So let's say WordPress oops, not following my own. Let's say this is WordPress Basics, and I'm going to do one of those, pay as you can or pay what you want type of things, right? So I'm not going to let you pay, the default price will be $5, which is also the minimum price. In other words, you can't pay less than $5 for that, but you don't need to pay more than $40, okay? Then everything else here is the same. And just to save time, I'm going to copy that. And then again, I would do my settings, right? I wouldn't have any of this. I don't want to worry about my packing slip. And maybe I don't want it to be part of my affiliates, so I turn that off. My options. Now in here, I think I did set up options. And we'll come back and look at this too next week, where you can actually create things that you can allow them to input. So you could allow them to add information to this. So you could say something like, no, never mind. You know what? I'll come back to the next week. We'll create one that will actually work better than this little one that I'm doing now. I just realized what time it was. Same thing with categories. So I can say it's training. Images, we went through downloads again. If this is going to be a self-study download, then I would want to come in here, select it. Remember, it has to be in the vault. Save. Remember your links, so you want to put back, and then here's your thank you URL. And then again, you would copy this and put it behind the button, or if you're sending the HTML code to somebody, you would click here and send that to them. And then really the only other thing I need to worry about, is it a recurring payment? No. I would really need to make sure that it's part of the autoresponder series. And save. So there are some real specifics that you need to do here. Okay. And then if I wanted to change, remember the the permalink, I could do that there. And that only has to do with storefront again. Okay. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I changed the wrong one. Yeah, I'll worry about it later. Okay. I gotta save. Voila. All right, let me get back to my questions. I see you have some. Oh, okay, Mary, did you just blip out? All right. All right, with that in mind, let me go back, because we only have about 6 minutes left. Let me go back to my product setup. So we looked at all of these options. Really the most important are your details with all the settings that you have to do. You really need to have an image. You really need to look at your links, and if it's a digital download, and your autoresponders, okay? Because you have to be able to say that it goes with this bucket, and they need to be notified if and when they actually receive or the order goes through, they get something that says that you have it. So some product tips really quick. Enable digital downloads if delivered digitally. It has to be part of the digital vault, which means it has to be uploaded in there. Your destination and ClearCart links can equal just the word back. You can have a specific thank you page or generic for everything that you do, and recurring payment schedule does not include initial payments. So if you need to get 3 payments, it's really 2 recurring because you've already got 1 initial. Now we're going to come back and we'll do coupons and categories because they won't take very long at the beginning of our next session. But real quick, always good to include a product image. Set up categories for multiple products because it's really easy to grab and categorize and then use them for things like coupons and upsells. Use the link URL to hyperlink buttons and make sure you test everything, okay? Test everything. So we're going to come back to this. And let me jump to this. So I'm not going to have you really worry about creating a coupon in a category, but I would like you to go through and review the whole contact section. You can add yourself and you can play with that. You can create a search segment if you want and save it. But I would like you to look at adding tags and segments. I'd like you to create a product and an AR to go with it and then test it. Just kind of walk through that whole process because that is something that you're going to do whether you implement One Shopping Cart or manage it. It's something that's going to need to be done every time, okay? I apologize. I have a tendency to talk a lot when it comes to One Shopping Cart. So what questions can I answer for you? So like I said, we're going to come back and do categories and coupons at the beginning of next week so we don't lose anything on that. And I'll also do one more. I'm going to come up with a good example to do the options and the attributes with. And I actually have a client that I used to do that for, so I'm going to go back and look at that stuff. Questions or comments? Well, did we all learn something new today? Lisa, thank you. There's so much to One Shopping Cart. I mean, there's so many different options, and I know it can be a little overwhelming, but it's repetition, right? You just have to, and so that's why it's important. I really think that you get into the sandbox while you are in this class, so you have access to One Shopping Cart now and don't have to wait, until you get a client that has it. You've had the exposure to it. Mary, I learned lots, just not sure what yet. Need to practice. Yeah, got to practice. Delane, thank you. Thank you for being so thorough and so clear. You're welcome. Like I said, practice, practice, practice is the only way you're going to really, really get this. Tara, this was helpful, very helpful, even though I use it a lot. Love this class. Thanks for pointing out the details. My pleasure. Lots of good tidbits. Years of use. I tell you, I've used this, 6 years now? Going on my 6th year. One of my very first client had One Shopping Cart. Yeah, that back. I learned that from them. I learned that from the OBM that was part of the team. She told me that. I'm like, oh, that is such a great thing. I mean, I learned also how to do double ARs. I mean, I learned all kinds of really kind of strange stuff, but they did all kinds of really weird things with their shopping cart. As always, Sandbox logins at the bottom of the library. Reach out to me, help@techhumanlabs.com, or catch me on Facebook. And this will be up within the next 24 hours. I will also put that product checklist up there so you can look at that too to see if it's helpful for you. But it could be something you could use when you start talking to clients about setting up a product. Because as you can see, if I just say to Tara, I need a new product, there's a lot of information you need to know about it, right? It's not just a simple, oh yeah, okay, I'll set it up for you. You don't just need to know the name and the price. You need to know everything else that goes with it. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much, as always, for your time and your patience. As always, if I can help, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Have a wonderful weekend, because it is almost Friday. And I will see you guys next week, same time, same channel. Talk to you soon. Bye.